You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Who's up for some Italian food? We know Garfield is. Can Amber and Scott cause as much havoc there as he can? I guess you'll have to find out. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
If you find yourself in the unique position,
what would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
what would you do?
What would you do?
How do you want to handle this?
What would you do? Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
Meow.
Yeah. You know, there comes a time in every podcaster's life that he's glad he has a co-host to be able to start off, because hell if I know where I'm starting with this one.
Garfield the movie. After an unexpected reunion with his long-lost father, scruffy street cat Vic, Garfield and his canine friend Odie are forced from their perfectly pampered life into joining Vic in a hilarious high-stakes heist. Meow.
Who would ever thought that Chris Pratt's dad was Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah.
And I'm impressed Samuel L. Jackson with an entire movie without dropping an F-bomb.
Yeah, he did. It was a fun movie. It was cute. I mean, there was a good amount of jokes for the adults in the crowd.
Yeah, Jiminy Davis was pretty good.
Yeah, Jiminy Davis.
I like that. Yeah, there were a few other ones. I'm like, kids ain't getting that.
Yeah,
I get it, but kids ain't getting that.
There were quite a few ones. So, yeah, definitely a cute movie to take the family. I think spans all ages and generations. It was cute.
It's probably not winning any awards, but it was cute.
Yeah. So obviously, the overwhelming storyline for this film was Garfield thinking his entire life that he had been abandoned by his father, who he thought left him in an alleyway and left and never came back. But it turns out after the course of the movie and things come to light that his dad did come back, but Garfield had already wandered off, and the dad found him and has actually been looking in on him in his house with Jim and Odie for years from the secrecy of a tree limb across the street.
I mean, let's be honest. That's a little creep.
It's not.
I mean, every day I'm watching you.
It's like a custody hearing where someone loses, but they kind of still go to the playground and they stand behind a tree to watch their little kid on the swings.
That too is creep.
I don't know. That's I'm sure a lot of parental love. As long as there's no abduction.
So tell that
involved.
To the judge.
As long as there's no abduction. So what would you do then if you thought that your dad had abandoned you and you had carried that around your whole life, feeling like he just didn't want you and walked away, and that was that, and you carry that around throughout your life, and then all of a sudden you discovered that, wow, you know, you didn't have all the facts, and your dad actually did care.
Well, funny you would mention that. No, we're not going to get into my.
We could make this really ugly with daddy stories.
Yeah, it really,
both of our parts.
Really could. I mean, it's certainly a lesson on learning to get all the facts before you making a judgment, but also in the same respect, sometimes you look at enough facts and you're just like, yeah, I think I have enough here to make. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I would agree. I think it's a matter of not jumping to conclusions. You know, Garfield waited for a little while for his dad to come back and then wandered off. And, you know, the dad was trying to get food to feed him since he was a little kitten, and came back with, you know, a little morsel of food, and then found that Garfield had wandered off, met John at an Italian restaurant, was eating pizza and lasagna and having a great time. And his dad saw, like, wow, this is what my son can get. He can get a, you know, warm, loving inside home with food, and this guy can provide for him better than I can. So I'm going to step back and let my kid have a good life.
So I am going to literally dozens and dozens and dozens of times crawl into a tree just to watch him, when at some point maybe I could have gathered enough of a sack to actually be like, hey, listen, I get where you are. That's cool. I just want you to let you know that whole going off to get cigarettes, I'll be right back thing and never coming back, that didn't actually go down that way. So, like, if you let a lie persist long enough, the lie will become the truth. Because in the absence of any facts countering it, even if it's not true, it will still emotionally turn in your head as though it's true. It's like I'm god awful with names.
Give me a hint.
Sounds
like
Kevin Spacey. Okay.
Oh, we're going the Spacey route.
Well, when I say Kevin Spacey, you probably think about all the shit that got him kicked off of
Everything.
House of Cards.
Yeah.
And how long all of that was for. And everyone just kind of thinks of Kevin Spacey in that way. Now, do you realize that his whole trial civil thing all ended, and it all ended in his favor? Like, I know they've said none of that happened or he wasn't liable or something in that respect, but
Not necessarily that he was innocent, but that he wasn't guilty.
yes. But regardless, for years and years, everything happened with him. Like, we got into our heads that that's what it was. So even in the presence of facts later, if a lie lasts long enough, it will stick.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little far-reaching, but I think it's a good example of.
Well, it's a good illustration of cancel culture today, where if you make an accusation, wow, you can do some serious damage that will linger for a long, long, long time.
Yep. So, I don't really want to turn Garfield into cancel culture here all of a sudden, but
I think it's a matter of parents wanting the best for their kids, and if in the process that means that you have to, think less of me, but you're going to have this great life where you're taken care of and you're loved and you're fed and you're warm. I'll let you think ill about me because I want you to have a good life. Unfortunately, a lot of thinking that way ends up with kids who have, issues from abandonment or neglect or whatever it is that they're dragging along with them to the therapist years later.
Oh,
even
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
a cat.
The lie, again, whether or not it's true or not, like, it can leave a lasting effect. So that even if it's true otherwise, like he didn't abandon him, he's still going to have all of those issues that came from thinking he was abandoned all those years. And you, especially in youth, you get early issues. They can stick with you. So, I feel
he's
like
a prime example of someone who's eating his emotions, considering how much Garfield eats.
oh dear God,
So much food, so much
so
pizza,
much food,
so much lasagna.
so much lasagna. I felt like they went a little too heavy with the pizza, not heavy enough with the lasagna, because we know.
Yeah, that's true.
Though I'd also like to note, even though that I believe if I looked at my board, I'll see that this episode will actually come out on a Friday. I think we watched it on a Monday, which is ironic.
I hate Mondays.
Ironic in Garfield world. Not a big Mondays fan myself, though this one happens to be Memorial Day.
Which, yeah.
Yeah, yes. I'm not hiding how long it is between we record stuff. So that's not so bad because we didn't really have to work. We get a 4-day work week. But yeah, I was like though I was very sad to not see any Abu Dhabi jokes, though I suppose without Nirmal, you're not going to have them. But I like Abu Dhabi jokes.
Well, so what would you do if your sibling put you in a box and shipped you to Abu Dhabi?
I think we're going to save that one for a different Garfield movie. Though, on a what would you do, though, I'll say this. If I'm John, I am admittedly alone, having a pizza by myself, and I come up with this cute little kitten that purrs. Yeah, it's so nice. And then he goes on and eats like half an Italian restaurant, going crazy.
Yeah.
Like, literally, you didn't get your pizza. You didn't get your family-style lasagna, which you got. Like, that cat caused a lot of chaos within, the first 30 minutes of John knowing him.
And a 6,000 drone delivery food bill from Mama Leone's at the end.
But my point is, if you've just met this cat and it's caused this much chaos,
What would you do? You wouldn't bring the cat home?
no, hell no.
But he's cute. He's a little cat.
I don't care how cute he is. He's gonna eat all of that. Yeah, you think he did that special for the Italian restaurant? Oh, no, that's your life, dude. Which, luckily, since John's animated, it's fine.
Yeah. So the other thing that stuck out to me from a what would you do perspective was, oh, gosh, and I'm blanking on his name, the 2 cows from the dairy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah.
Emily, we should really look at names before we film these podcasts because I always blank, and so do you. So
Hang on a second.
The 2 of them.
So So that break brought to you by the pause button. Now that we're learning about the tech things that we can do, when we can't figure out the names, we can pause.
Yes. So Otto and Ethel, they were the mascots of Lactose Farms, and which was part of the shenanigans that Garfield and his feline daddy and Odie got into. And they were separated. And Ethel was shipped off to a petting zoo to entertain all the dairy guzzling kids. And Otto was forcibly removed from the farm, put behind barbed wire to keep him away from the facility and away from the love of his life, Ethel.
That's a fucking man right there that hangs out constantly watching just so he can see the love of his life for 6 seconds twice a day.
As she's being led out to the petting zoo and put back after the day after being harassed and petted by all the screaming kids.
Yeah, we're not even going to go there on petting zoos and all of that stuff. Like that's an entirely other rant that we could go on.
So, in that instance, what would you do? So you're with the love of your life, and they were beautiful together, and they, you were my day, you were my night, and they were very, very much in love. So if the love of your life was ripped away and sent off to forcibly work, and you were removed from her and not able to see her, to what lengths? Because in the film, Otto does work with Vic and Garfield and Odie to rescue Ethel. So as they're in their own hijinks on their own little plot line, he's also trying to get them to liberate Ethel.
I'm probably not just sitting on a hill watching. I'm probably
It's an
taking
electrified fence. I mean, he tried. He did try.
I do know from Ren and Stimpy, the one thing you don't do with an electric fence is piss on it. But
that's not going to rescue Ethel. All the urine in the world will not rescue Ethel.
No, but I don't know. He's a big old bull. I'm freaking figure that out. I'm charging through, baby. I'm coming for you, Ethel. I don't know, man.
To what length would someone go to save the love of your life? And it actually, it's not exactly the same as our last movie.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm saving her or I'm dying trying. I mean, there's what's the length? There's no limit. There's literally no limit. If I'm in that position, and not only have I been separated, but separated, and she's been put into servitude, and I guess this is a good screw corporations line, because apparently it's corporations that did that to her. But no, I'm not just gonna sit there and watch for 6 seconds a day, twice a day.
Pardon. Yeah. It's.
I'm figuring something out. I'm maybe getting that nose ring out so it's not as bad if I get electrified.
That's true. That would be a good move. So yes, it was a sweet movie with all kinds of shenanigans, and I think my what would you do from this is I would definitely eat more lasagna. I would have more lasagna served, more lasagna eaten, and I would definitely make sure that the exploding dessert explodes in a way that I could eat as much of it as humanly or felinely possible.
Yeah, this is where you and I have different body types. I look like I've already eaten all the lasagna and already eaten all the desserts, which means I guess I'm probably going to keep going, but I maybe should eat a little bit less. Maybe.
Meow.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.